Thanks for staying with us here on Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Christina Evans. We do have some breaking news at this hour. We now know that the FAA is halting flights in the Florida area. I want to show you this on your screen. This is a tweet that we have from Orlando's International Airport saying it's an operational update. Per the FAA, our airport is currently under a ground stop due to a space launch debris there in the area. For those airport delays, make sure you're visiting that website online and check directly with your airline for further updates. We brought you the launch here on Live Now in real time as SpaceX was doing its 8th test flight for its Starship. It's one of the largest Starships as well, but you can see the fallout that's now happening after they lost control. You can see Idris Ali, he was en route to Miami from D.C. when the pilot announced that there had been some sort of rocket explosion. All airspace near Miami was closed down. We would be in a holding pattern for the foreseeable future. I want to show you as well some of the flights that are also being diverted over the Caribbean after the loss of yet another Starship. This wasn't the first time. Actually, at the end of January as well, there was another loss of a Starship that caused debris to fall near Turks and Caicos. So what happened here, we have the moment where things were initially going successfully for SpaceX. As you can see, this was the moment where there were cheers erupting during that cast that SpaceX put out on their X platform, showing the moment that the Super Heavy booster arrived safely back here on Earth. You can see it comes in closer to that landing platform where it's caught. And we were listening into the broadcast as those there were describing how this was a successful portion of the mission, optimistic at that point for what was to come. But it was just moments after this successful catch there of the super booster that things did appear to go wrong elsewhere for SpaceX. Let's listen into that moment there where they're starting to discover that the Starship was losing contact there with them at SpaceX. Let's listen in.
Some engines go out. It looks like we are losing attitude control of the ship.
Ship FTS is saved.
So we're still getting video down from the ship. You can see we've lost several engines and we've lost attitude control of the vehicle.
All right, and that was the moment where they did announce that they had lost contact there with the spaceship. Then you can see this post was put out on X as well. During Starship's ascent burn, the vehicle experienced a rapid, unscheduled disassembly and contact was lost. Our team immediately began coordination with safety officials to implement pre-planned contingency responses. Also want to bring you just a bit more context on this moment. And this is what we heard there directly from the broadcasters there at SpaceX as they learned that they had lost contact with the ship.
All right, so coming back with you real quick. So can confirm we did lose contact with the ship. Unfortunately, this happened last time too, so we've got some practice at this now. We've got a lot of measures in place, like debris response areas where we coordinate very closely with air traffic control. We have a lot of measures put before we ever launch a rocket to make sure that we're keeping the public safe. Those worked last time, and they're actively in work right now. So just to recap real quick, everything we saw, we lifted off right at the top of our window, essentially at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. Booster was able to get us all the way up into space, made its way back here. It's sitting on the tower right behind us, our third ever catch. Starship ignited all 6 of its Raptor engines. It was just about 20 or 30 seconds away. We'll get exact times from the end of its ascent burn when we started to see some engines go out on ship, eventually lost attitude control, and then lost contact with the ship shortly after. So obviously a lot to go through, a lot to dig through. We're going to go right at it. The primary reason we do these flight tests is to learn. We have some more to learn about this vehicle, but we're going to be right back here in the not too distant future, and we're going to get a ship to space.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We fly to learn, and we're learning a lot. And as is the case with developmental programs such as the Starship program, progress isn't always linear. So at this point, we're going to close out our webcast for the day. But before we do, we'd like to give a shout out to our viewers, of course, as well as our partners, both here in Cameron County and around the world. Now,
all right, as you heard there, those were the moments after they just explained a bit more about what happened and what went wrong with the Starship launch. But once again, the FAA is currently halting all of those flights there into Florida airports due to the launch debris as well. I want to show you a few live shots that we have there in Florida at this time. This is a live shot that we have there in the Orlando area. Again, these ground stops is going to be in place for the time being. Once it's lifted, we'll bring you that update here on Live Now. We also have a shot there in Miami, Florida, as some of those that airport will also